Conservas by Scott Alms. We have played this on the channel through all 12 months, January through December. There will be a link up above for all of that, along with the unboxing and how to play and such. But what did I think of it after doing all 12 plays? Well, stick around after break and I will let you know that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with what is inside the box. As I said, there was a link to the playlist before. I'll just include a link to the actual what's in the box up above if you want to see just that. So for this game inside the box, you have these wooden discs. They work well. They hold up to lots of bag shakes and pulling. They are durable. The bag itself, really good size for holding everything. At no point did I feel it was too small. I could easily get my hand inside. Everything mixed around fine. The money tokens themselves also worked out okay. They did their purpose. They functioned well. As for the cards, I really liked them. They're nice, they're big, they're, I believe, almost maybe tarot size, but they are a bigger form of card. The artwork on them, really nice, really conveys everything well. The powers themselves are explained nicely. I really enjoyed all the different names on the boats. Some of them I got the puns, some of them I didn't. I'm sure there's a list out there of all the different puns, but they all did have really fun, cool names to experience. The book itself, too, also laid out well, functioned well, putting everything on there, giving all the information, having the lines, showing you where you had to go through stuff, and displaying the information that you needed. The rulebook itself also went through everything easily, went through, I think it was like 2 or 3 pages of an example full-on turn to just walk you through everything. The back itself has the little guidelines of like the different symbols and all of that. So it is a very well-written rule book that was able to convey everything. So for the most part, everything in the box worked out really well, functioned good, and everything. As for 2-player changes, there is none. This is a solo-only game. I'm assuming if you wanted to make this a 2-player experience, one person could pull from the bag, and then the person decides where they go, vice versa. You could make it a collaborative effort. It's not mentioned in the rule book, but I mean, there are ways around it if you really, really want to do that. But outside of that, this is a solo-only game. Getting the gameplay. So it is a very simple gameplay. You're going to have the boats in the open sea in front of you. You're going to draw 5 tokens out of the bag, choose where they go. Once you're all full, use those tokens onto either sell the tins and get money, or use them to get the upgrade cards that are going to help you in the future be able to do certain things and manipulate other things. Then you use that money to buy your boats, pay your upkeep, etc. So the gameplay itself is smooth. I will say, though, it does kind of get repetitive at times. It does kind of get, especially some of the ones where I think there's like 8 or 9 rounds, something like that. It can feel very, just very boring is the wrong word because you are making decisions, but kind of monotonous, kind of like draw 5, put them there, draw 5, put them there. It does kind of get a little bit that way. Like I said, though, there is that decision space of how are you going to do certain things, like, which fish are you going to keep for the upgrades or to make sure that you can sell, especially seeing as each month has a different ratio of fish in the bag and a certain way that you can sell the fish, either left to right, top to bottom. Some have a pyramid shape. Some can only do ones in certain months, etc. So that is where that decision can kind of break up that monotony. But to me, like I said, those ones that were like 8, I think there was one that was 9 months long or 9 days long, weeks long, whatever they are. It did starting near the end, kind of was feeling a bit of as a slog of drawing out the things and filling the boats. But the game, like I said, the gameplay itself, though, is smooth and easy to understand outside of that. So if that is something that you enjoy, then this is going to have that in abundance, as that is going to be just what you are doing is just drawing them out and allotting them. Getting the overall, I would say what this game does do well, though, is it does convey kind of a relaxing experience while still having some of those fun decisions to it, because it is simply, filling the bag and pulling them out and all of that. But like I said, choosing which fish to put on the boat, trying to maintain that balance in your bag to be able to get these certain requirements and goals to win the game, so that way you don't overfish or overbuying the boats, because if you run out of the water tokens, then you can also lose as well. So just having all those different decisions in there, this is a very kind of, to me, calming experience. You're never feeling very stressed out or anything. It is just, as I said, the repetitive motions with the decisions, you kind of sometimes get into the Zen-like groove with it. It does also, though, seem kind of like a certain strategy does help. Like if you can kind of load up with fish those first few turns, if you're able to manage the money, then that does help later on. But you do have to make sure that you are managing the fish and not necessarily oversaturating the bag, because then those may not be coming out in the ratios you need for the way you have to sell them. Because it's not going to simply be just sell a blue one or sell a green one. It's going to be like maybe 2 green and a blue. So if you don't have that good ratio in there, it's going to be harder to pull them out. The upgrade cards themselves, there are definitely some that seem to favor my play style over others. So that is going to be one of those things that kind of maybe notice, maintain. Certain ones also help when it comes to certain missions. So trying to get to those. And that's why you kind of like that rule of if you don't buy any, then you can wipe the market and get 3 more. That kind of helps you mitigate, if there's some bad ones that came up or some that don't fit your strategy, or later game ones, or ones that are more for throughout the whole game as opposed to a later game, getting those out of there. Same thing with the boats. If their upkeep or their size is a little too much and you're trying to pass on them, it does refresh. So it does help not have to try and like force you into something. You are kind of able to filter those out in a way. So with all that being said, it's hard for me to give this a score because I do enjoy playing it when I play it, but I don't always want to play it. So that's why I'm leaning towards a 6, where I'll say I am willing to play it in the mood and not necessarily usually willing to play it. I think I am going to straddle the line here and though give it a 6.5. Like I said, for me personally, the reason why it's that is it was a little bit too repetitive in nature on playing some of those longer ones. Some of the shorter ones, I definitely enjoyed a lot more. The longer ones got a little bit too lengthy. So that is kind of why it's at 6.5. They're all kind of the shorter ones with certain dynamics changed. It would definitely be higher. But with it being the all-encompassing game and me scoring it basically on all 12 games, there were definitely games that brought it down and weren't as enjoyable for me. But if that is something that doesn't really bother you, is that repetitive nature, and that is what you're looking for, then this is going to be one that you yourself are going to enjoy, because you are going to be able to work into those strategies. It just, to me, kind of like in the middle, kind of flattened out and got a little easy and so forth. But overall, like I said, it is one that I could see people who like that repetitive bag building nature excelling at, or it excelling for them. It's just not personally the game type that I like to gravitate towards. That's why for me it is a 6.5. All right, but with all that being said, I will ask if you could please go ahead and head down below and hit like, subscribe, comment, share, ring the bell. If you've played this, let me know what was your favorite month that you have played. Here in the US where we are based, 25th Century Games is selling this game. I'll include a link to their store down below. Down below, I will also include a link to Miniature Market if you're looking for other board game needs. If you use our link, we do get a portion back here to the channel. And another way you can help support and keep me bringing this to you is by joining the channel with the join button down below. They'll unlock exclusive perks such as seeing our videos early. Alrighty, so get fishing.